Hello, good evening, team. It is always exciting for us to get on this call. This call is to help for the motivators, help us learn skills, strategies from leaders who are doing it. There's a saying that you can tell me 1,000 times, but if you show me how to do it, I probably might get, to doing it faster. So this call is supposed to do that for each one of us as we put in front of you as a mirror leaders who are doing it. You too can do it. This is an opportunity that allows you to be able to earn for the very best and for the highest. My name is Blessing Edetubano, Head of Business Development for Africa. And I have on the call with me Neyon Tunyai, my colleague in South Africa in business development. Now you can say your hello to everyone, please.
Hi, Blessing. Hi. Good evening, Africa. Good evening to the rest of the world, everybody that is joining us from all over the world. We welcome you on this call. Like Blessing has already mentioned, the purpose of the Thursday calls is for us to gain the knowledge that is so much needed in the Africa region that we are going to get from all our top leaders globally, because we are a global community of people put together by one common goal. And we are so lucky to be in a community where people are not selfish with the information. People are willing to give the information that they need, they know, for us to all be able to elevate and go big in Africa. So we really appreciate you being on a call with us today, Aaron. We really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Neil. So it's always exciting to get on this call.
My
We're
pleasure.
looking forward to learning. Yes, Aaron? We're looking forward to learning
I just said
amazing
my pleasure.
things. Oh, okay. Okay. Now, we're so blessed this evening to have an amazing leader on this call. His name is Aaron Decker. Now, this is a leader that has been with us in PartnerCo Africa from the inception. He's been a great support to us. He's top in the 100 worldwide power ranking, 100. And it's not just that, he's a global team builder. He's CEO in this company, PartnerCo. He loves everything about this company. He's passionate about this company. And when I say that he's a global team builder, I know that to be true. I know the teams that he's built, especially in Africa. And he's so passionate about building this team, and not just building, but leading them to success. And so this evening, we are blessed to have him on this call to share with us some of his strategies, why Africa, and what motivates him, so that we too can be able to lead our teams to success and to be able to find fulfillment and purpose in what we're doing here. Thank you so much, Aaron Decker, for getting on the call.
Well, it's my pleasure. And thank you, Blessing. I'm so grateful for your parents who had that foresight to name you Blessing, because you have been such an incredible blessing to all of us. And, when you asked if I could jump on here and share a little bit, to me, that's really an honor and humbling. And one thing that I'll say just right out of the gate, and this is just all of my opinion. So anything that I share is my opinion. But one of my opinions is in our industry, we look to leadership. And I'm hoping to define a little bit of what that, in my opinion, means. But leadership just means that you had the vision, which one of the things I'm going to talk about, and then the stick-to-itiveness, and started to surround yourself with like-minded people and stayed at that long enough. And all of a sudden, those others, so your teammates, are really what make you look good. Part of what I don't like about the industry, which is we magnify leadership, but there is no leader without others. Does that make sense? So others is the team. So in my opinion, when somebody's called out, you can name any leader in any company in the world, always make sure that you're looking past them to the people that they've surrounded themselves with, because really that's that's them. So when you see somebody that's a top power ranker or a top title or whatever that is, always remember they just had the ability to stay with something long enough to attract like-minded people. And collectively, it's really a recognition of the whole, not the singular. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
And again, that's my opinion. Now, Blessing, you and I have been blessed to work together long enough here for a long time. And you know me, I get off in tangents in a good way, I hope. And so if it's okay with you, I'd like to spend a little time. I know you and I talked a little bit, and you asked me a couple questions. And if it's okay, I'd like to answer those questions in the form of a couple stories. Is that okay?
Perfectly okay.
Okay, and so you guys, the questions that I'd like to answer in the form of two stories, and I want to relate things because I believe that we're all really, if you want to be very successful, you have to be a good storyteller, but the story has to include truth, integrity, and not exaggerate. Does that make sense? Those opposites are what unfortunately give our industry a bad name. But when you're sharing truth, because the truth is good enough and you have integrity to do so. So I want to share the core values to success. That's one of the questions that Blessing had. And then also, why my heart for Africa? And so I'm going to answer those two questions. And again, in the form of two stories. So for those of you that don't know, my wife and I, we run a ranch back in Michigan, in the U.S. for at-risk kids that have been abused and neglected, removed by Child Protective Services, and they've had a lot of bad things happen to them, and it wasn't their fault. Does that make sense? Okay. And I'll never forget, a few years ago, I got a phone call, and it was from somebody that was with a group, and they said, "Hey, we'd like to bring our kids out to your ranch." And I said, "Sure, no problem." She said, "Well, I got to tell you, there's one thing. They're blind." Okay, so, and again, I'm going to relate this all to your business. Trust me. When they said they're blind, my first thought was, what can I do in a horse ranch with someone who's blind? And I started to go to all of the negative things, like, well, they can't see. So what am I going to do? How am I going to get them on a horse? I'm going to take them for a wagon ride. What good is that going to do? We do little work projects. How are they going to work? And then in an instant, I realized I had an accident that messed up my right arm. And some people might look at it as a disability, but I went on to overcome many things. Okay. So I related it to myself. And in that instant, I switched myself from thinking of all the reasons why it wouldn't work for them to the one reason why it would. And here's what I decided in that moment. I will treat them just as every other person, because they're just like every other person. They just have something a little bit different. So watch. They arrived at the ranch. They got off the bus. I never once bought into the fact that they were blind. I treated them like I treat everybody else. They went and they rode horses. They went for a wagon ride. They worked in the garden. They cleaned saddles and tack. Here's what I will tell you. On that day, I learned one of the biggest lessons of my life, and I'm going to apply it to what I call one of your core values to success, which is many, many, many people have sight. Very few have vision. These kids that could not see taught me that day how to have vision. They saw more sights on the ranch than those that come that have their eyesight. They rode horses, and through their other senses, the vision of what it was. And you know what? They saw what they wanted to see. They saw what they created. When we went on a wagon ride, they saw the sights of the river and the horses and the cattle and the trees. They saw it, but they saw it through vision. When they worked in the garden, they actually did a better job than most that can see. So that's one story, and I'm going to come back to that story. Now I'm going to take that because it taught me a lesson. So the ranch, and it's grown over the years, just like building a team. You got to start somewhere. And so number one, if you're taking notes, is, in my opinion, you got to have the vision. So I learned that vision from that group of kids, right? And so I wanted to, my wife and I were on vacation, and we were in Arizona, which is a long way from where we live. And there was this really neat horse statue. And in my mind, when I saw that statue, I knew in an instant exactly where I wanted that to be in a position at the ranch. Took a picture of it, saved that picture. Okay. Now, keep in mind, vision, in my opinion, does not have a timeline. Vision is having, which is again one of the 4 things I'm going to talk about, the faith to know that it will happen one day. And then having the vision, now you have the sight and the faith combined to see it as if it's already happened. Okay, so when you're growing your business, it doesn't matter the size. If you have the correct vision and you have the faith, and you combine that faith with the sight to see it as if it's already happened. So every morning I would get up and I'd go out to do chores, and I saw that horse statue in the middle of our driveway, and I saw it surrounded by big rocks, and I saw it with this beautiful landscape around it, and that was the centerpiece of the ranch. Keep in mind, at that time, there was a fuel tank there. This went on day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year. Every time I walked out of that, you couldn't see it, but I saw it. I saw it as if it was already there. Now, here's what I love, and here's when goals enter the equation. Goals have timelines. Vision does not. Vision needs faith and combined with sight to see as if it's happening. A goal must, in my opinion, have a timeline. And I believe then you start to set little goals to reach the vision. Once you start that process, if you have enough vision and the faith to back it up, you cannot fail. So here we go. Now, we all know there will be obstacles in everything that you do. You can have the best vision. I believe God gave me that vision. Okay, I just believe that, because then he provided a way. But providing a way doesn't mean easy. Nowhere in scripture does it ever say life will be easy, just believe. That doesn't exist. In fact, the whole thing was set up with challenges and trials, right? So now check this out. So I'm like, okay, what started the course was I had somebody down there with a piece of equipment that could do what I needed it to do. There were some big boulders that existed way on the back of the property. And in my mind, I already had those boulders in a circle, and I had that horse statue in the middle. And all of a sudden now, the right timing happened. I had a piece of equipment that could get the boulders. So I set a goal. My goal was to get that person to go out to get those boulders, to bring them up so I could start the process. Sure enough, boom, did it. I had to pay some money to get it done, right? But I got the boulders up there. Now, that person didn't put them how I wanted them. So now I had to set another goal. All right, if I'm going to make this vision come true, I got to get out there and I got to do what? Work. I got to take action, not a little action. I got to take massive action to make this happen. Okay, so now I put the boulders in this big circle. I got that done. Now, next step, what's next goal? I got to fill it with dirt. Where can I get the dirt? I figured that out. What did I have to do? I had to take action, not a little action. I had to take massive action till I completed what? That next goal towards what? The vision. Then, and those things were pretty easy, small obstacles, maybe a little bit of finances, maybe a little bit of figuring out, and then a lot of work. But then it came time to find the horse, because it had been 5 years since I first saw that horse. 5 years. Remember, visions don't have timelines, goals do. But I started to set sequential goals. Now I'm building momentum, right? Get the rocks, put the rocks in place, get the dirt, put the dirt in place. Now I got to get the horse, because that's the centerpiece. So we look around, we find, and we called, and we finally figured out the store that had that horse. Guess what? The horse was still there. It was still for sale. Problem. Here's when challenges, here's when trials come into place. They don't ship. It's too big. This thing's, 12, 15 feet tall. Okay, you don't ship it. If I can find a shipper, will you put it in a crate and ship it? No, we don't do that. Could I pay you to do that? No, we don't do that. Okay. Boom, stopping point, boulder. Here's where most people stop on their vision, because they're not willing to adjust and adapt and figure out another way. So here's the other way. The other way, again, you're going to notice a theme. I had to take action, not a little action. I had to take massive action. I called shippers. I called haulers. I called every person I knew, every place I could find. I'm calling big trucking companies, little trucking companies. I'm trying to figure out how can I get this thing from Arizona about 1,500 miles to my ranch. And you know what I kept running into? No. Hey, I think we can do it. No, I can't. Hey, I got somebody that's going to come there on a backhaul. No, they're not willing to crate it. And every time I thought I had it done, it fell through. Now, what are you going to do? Are you going to give up? And again, core values to success. Remember, it wasn't just a vision. I combined sight with an unbelievable, unwavering faith, and I already saw it there. So that's what drove me through all of the challenges. Your best person just quit. We can't get product into your company. My check wasn't what I thought it was going to be. All of those challenges, I had the same types, but I had enough vision and faith to push through. Now, sometimes, again, the way that I thought it was going to work out, it didn't. What I ended up having to do is I had a guy that worked at the ranch. I said, guess what? We're going to buy you a one-way ticket. I'm going to fly you to Arizona. We're going to rent a truck. You're going to need to spend some time and wrap that thing up good and then drive it back to the ranch. Well, that's a long process. That takes a long time. That's hard. I mean, there's a lot of details that go in that. What if something goes wrong? Remember, enough faith. I saw it as if it was already there. So the vision was so clear. It was not even an option to not complete the sequential goals to get that which I set out to go do. Today, that horse statue stands in the center of that ranch with those rocks around it, beautifully landscaped. It took over 5 years. But once I started setting goals, and again, I believe you got to start with small goals. The first goal, again, was just getting the rocks. That was pretty easy, but it needed to happen. But each goal got a little bit harder and a little bit harder. But once you condition your mind that no matter what, the goals that I'm setting to get the vision of that which I see as if it's already there, I have no option personally to fail. How does that relate to your team? And why Africa? When I first got introduced to Dr. Charles, and he started to introduce me to some incredible people, Coach Michelle, and I don't even know if these people are on here. I'm on my phone, so I can't see. So I Suleiman, Mercy, the General, Bridget, Dr. Lynn, and then I met Nick, and we're not even on the same team. And I met some of these incredible people. For me, and again, if you're in the U.S., I apologize to you, but what I saw in the eyes and seeing through the eyes and into the hearts of the people of Africa was an unwavering desire, this entrepreneurial spirit, this excitement, this fire, this vision, this faith that the obstacles that they go through and I don't even know everything, but just on a daily basis, we don't know if our lights are going to be on, if the internet's going to work, what our government's going to do, what the rising costs, all of these obstacles. And I saw just this joy. And I'll tell you what, every single time, it doesn't matter if one person or 1,000 people get started on a Zoom, it brightens my day and my heart smiles because the people of Africa, in my opinion, and I know there's bad people everywhere, right? But the ones that I get the pleasure to work with, I see something there, and I see this hope and this unwavering faith, and their faith goes so deep. Sometimes it's the faith to get through the day. That I charged enough stuff, I've got my whatever that is, and I'm like, they live, you live your life. What many of us around the world take for granted, you live with vision. You live with faith. You have sight. Sometimes the goals are just getting through the day. And blessing that right there. I mean, again, if we got to adjust and adapt, if we got to figure out a different plan, whatever it takes to go around the obstacles. In hearing some of the stories of how many of the leaders, and you might be a leader that was in other companies or other things, and have been let down and let down and let down and let down. I told my wife, who's my biggest supporter, I said, I cannot give up no matter what the obstacles, because I've already got the vision of millions of people in Africa that are winning for their families because they saw it, they had the vision, and their faith is unlike anything that I've ever seen. And their willingness to go around, go over, go through whatever it takes and stay the course. But also the integrity, the truth, the honesty. And again, I know that's not everyone. I know that. But this industry, and I'll tell you, Blessing, what you and your leadership team are attracting is those that have all of those core values of success already built inside. Listen, we're not going to sugarcoat anything. This is where I might offend some people. It's tough. The governments, the shipping, the challenges are tough. But for those that are willing to have a vision so strong, the faith to stick with it, combine that with the sight, and are willing to set goals, and even when sometimes those goals have to be adjusted and adapt to get around, get over, get through, those are the ones that ultimately will open up the floodgates. And I will tell you, the vision of millions of Africans' lives will be changed.
Thank you so much, sir. That was gold. That was simply gold. We've just gotten absolute value. Thank you so much. Vision, vision, vision. I know that we're all amazing leaders here on this call. Each one of us joined this company with a vision. Now is the time to sharpen that vision. Do you need to adjust and adapt? Now is the time to adjust and adapt. But that vision, our sight must be sharpened to get through to it, no matter the obstacles. This is absolute wisdom. Thank you so much for sharing with us today, sir. We will now give a few minutes for questions from the field. Please type your questions in the chat box. We also have on the call with us partner council members in Africa, and some of them in Nigeria are part of Aaron Decker's team. We're so blessed to have you on the call. Please let us know the questions that you would like to answer. Yes, Aaron.
Aaron Decker is blessed to be on their team.
Amazing. That's a servant leader there. That's a servant leader there. He's blessed to be in your team. Thank you so much. All right, so we'll take questions for the next 10 to 15 minutes, team. Please let us know if you have some questions. Amazing words of wisdom. I have jotted down so much. I can see places I need to adjust and adapt already. We're so blessed to have Aaron Decker and his team. I would always mention Dr. Charles Eremosele, amazing leader there in Africa. In fact, Dr. Charles does not fail to connect with me on a daily basis. He'll be like, I'm sorry I didn't connect with you yesterday. And it's those connections that help us to be able to build a beautiful relationship. And we're able to support one another, his team. I can tell you almost everyone in Dr. Charles Eremosele's team, and he has such a massive team. Now, that's the kind of global team that Aaron Decker is building across the globe. We're so excited. Please let us know if you have questions.
I'm going to say it again. And thank you for giving me the credit, but I don't get the credit. And if Dr. Charles was on here, he would say it's not me, it's Coach Michelle, it's Suleiman, it's Mercy, it's the General, it's Dr. Lynn, right? You guys understand, in my opinion, if you really want to go and you want to build a community that lasts, yes, you have to call out someone's name because you couldn't mention everyone, right? And there's probably those that I've missed, but my point is remember, it can never be someone, because that someone is nothing without everyone. And so, in my opinion, give credit where credit is due, which is, yes, yeah, I was a connecting point and had the vision to stay with it, but always look at the next tier and have them teach them to look at the next tier, because the newest member of the team is the most valuable member of the team. The top person is not the most valuable. The newest member of your team is the most valuable. And if you value them, and if you teach them those values to success, vision, right? Faith combined with sight, goals with massive action, and you teach them and you help them get the vision of what they want from their business. Zig said it, you probably have all read it. Help enough others get what they want, you'll get everything that you want. Zig, that's wisdom. Help enough others, i.e., serve enough others. And here's the thing, serve when no one is watching. Don't only serve when you feel someone is watching.
Tim, thank you so much. Thank you. Yes, duplication from Nick. Let's look through the chat. All right, if there are questions. All right, golden nuggets, serve when no one is watching. All right, Tim. It seemed this was delivered with so much clarity that the team does not have questions. I can't see any questions. Neo, can you see any questions in the chat box?
I have a question. Oh, let somebody says they have a question. Let them answer theirs.
Okay.
Good evening.
Good evening,
Good evening.
Linzel.
Yes, blessing, and thank you for the opportunity to ask a question. Good evening, Aaron. I just want to find out, I 100% agree with what you're saying in terms of the leadership style. I think what I said to someone the other day is, if you were lacking in areas like with leadership style, then I think, this company either brings you on par or it propels you with the leadership, the skills and everything. But what I want to ask is, what do you do with team members that no matter what you do, it is just not working, and you want the dream for them more, you believe it more for them than what they believe it for themselves. You have really done what you could do, but there's nothing coming, because on the one hand, with training, it almost like, if this business model was based on somebody that can run ahead and do it themselves, I think I would have fared better. But now it's like I'm being reeled, back at times periodically. I have learned to switch out of management mode. That was hard for me, because in my own business, I wore a different cap at the time. But I think I have that under the belt now. But yeah, to end it off, it is a challenge, because on the one hand, with training, they always refer back to, go look for that person, check in with them, follow up with them. But how long and when do you actually just decide, you know what, catch me in front, basically? Thank you.
That is an amazing question, and I'll try to keep my answer as short as possible, but with as much clarity as I can. Number one, love people where they're at. If you don't know where they're at, what vision they have from offers, how can you love them where they're at? Number two, and the second part to that, and these numbers are going to be pretty close. Okay. And I love statistics because it's just statistics. So if you look at our industry, you're going to end up with somewhere about 75 to 80% of your teammates are really glorified customers that want to belong to something and feel valued. If you create, in my opinion, a culture that takes that person that just wants to be a part and take some products, and you want to make them into recruiters, they will leave. They will not answer you. If they don't feel valued, and again, I want you to think about this. And I don't care who you are, what size of your team. I can tell you, you've probably, not even probably, unless you just got started, you've got more inactive than active. What if you can increase the activity or the active status by 10 or 20%? What would your business look like? I already know the answer to that. Now watch. So if 75 to 80% of the people, they don't want to build because they don't have the belief in themselves, and they don't have the vision, the faith, the sight, and the ability to set goals and follow through. Okay. So that's 80% of your business. 15% of your business is, and I call that the core of your business. That's going to be the bulk of business. The core of your business, our core plus, would be those people. Plus, I want to do a little bit. Okay. So I call those first group core plus, or core. Second group core plus, which is about 15%. Love them where they're at. Value them for doing a little bit. Make them proud. Give them accolades. Make them feel accepted. Don't ostracize them. And for heaven's sakes, don't make them do more than they're wanting to do. So you have to know that. The last 5% is probably many of you that are on today. Why? Because you have the vision. You have those things. Maybe you haven't honed them in, but you possess that. You want it more for others, but do you know exactly what you want for yourself? Do you have the unwavering faith? Do you have the sight to go with it? Have you set goals and hit your goals? Now, if you've got that, here's the problem with the industry that I see. The 5%ers spend most of their time trying to get the 95% of their business to do what the 5%ers are willing to do. It will never work because you create more pain for them. And so then they leave. You wonder, why do people quit? Why don't they do it? Because they're not feeling valued and accepted for where they're at. They go to a training. What is the training? Work harder, do more, get more. You got to be more. You got to recruit more. You got to sell more. They're only there to be part of something that's going to be special. They don't want to do that yet. The moment you start to treat people and meet people where they're at and value each one equally. You see, I value the person that shows up and maybe just takes Noni just for their health, just as much as I value Dr. Charles. There is no difference in value. I value them equally. Our industry, unfortunately, values only the producers. If all I did is try to get everybody to be a producer, it creates too much internal pain and anxiety. They leave. Why don't we see the bulk of our business? And I can go to any company and the numbers are the same. What if we change the way that we looked at those groups and we valued them more? And we've done this. All of a sudden, those people that were here just to buy a product and be a part of the community, they're like, hey, I think I want to make a little bit of money. They then choose to migrate to the next group. And some of those in that next group, they say, I was just going to make a little bit of money, but I feel so appreciated and valued. I think I'd like to kind of take that next step and really get into this thing and really start to set some goals and really start to take action and go like Nick. So again, Nick already possesses this. But 95% of the world is not a Dr. Charles, is not a Nick, is not a Michelle, is not a Bridget, is not a Mercy, is not a Jen, is not a Blessing, is not a Neo. 95% of the world isn't built that way. We can get them there, but you can't get them there in an instant because you want them to be there so you can be somewhere. You gotta see where they're at. So that was a long answer to a short question, but that question is extremely valuable. Thank you for answering it. And if you can get part of what I just said, watch how your retention goes up. And again, that's your money, but it's their life. Don't choose their life for them. Let them choose their life and then support them.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you for answering that question.
Wow.
That's a question that we truly want answered for a lot of our partners. Value people where they're at. If they just want to be drinkers of Noni, just to take the products, please value them for where they are. Recognize them, and that would help to propel them to take, the little steps, the little decisions, and creates the kind of momentum and to the next level. Value your team members equally. Thank you so much. Thank you. Yes, Aaron, you were going to ask a question. Go ahead.
Well, those overnight successes that we always praise took a lifetime to get there. Remember that. And the last question that I'd like to ask is, put in the chat, for you, my question for you is, have you laid out, do you see your vision of what you want from this business? And that's a yes or a no. And here's the thing, don't answer yes just because everyone else is. Courage is being honest and having integrity, not with others, but with yourself, and saying, no, I haven't done that yet. I'm going to. I need to. I've decided that that's what I'm going to do. See, courage isn't being a follower. Courage is being different and staying true to who you are, your values, your integrity, your honesty, not just with others, first and foremost with yourself.
Amazing, amazing. In our chat box, we see a lot of yeses. That's absolutely amazing. Ben is very honest. He says that I don't have a vision as yet. That is being honest.
Honesty is
exactly where you are at.
That is courage. It takes a lot of courage to be real with ourselves.
Absolutely.
It takes no courage to go build someone else's dream. It takes or someone else's vision. We do it all the time. We go to work, we get paid what they're willing to pay us. We'll take vacation when they're telling us. It takes no courage to get a paycheck and go build somebody else's vision. It takes tremendous courage to be honest with ourselves and recognize where we're at in our willingness and our shortcomings, reach out and ask for help. In the world, asking for help is something that we were taught that is a sign of non-courage, of insecurity. In this industry, asking for help, but not just asking. Now, there's a difference. Asking for help, accepting that help, and then taking action. That is courageous. Asking for help and expecting someone to go build something for you, that is non-realistic.
Amazing.
Amazing, amazing. You ask for help, you must be ready to go build it. Follow through on it when you get that help. But do not ask for help and expect the person to go, build it for you. Run after the vision. Again and again, team, what's your vision? I see a lot of you saying, I'll have to go back on that vision. That's a courage to do that. To go back on that vision, to sharpen the vision, to be able to set daily goals to align with that vision. Just take those sequential actions on a daily basis. Awesome. Thank you so much, team. Never be afraid to ask for help. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you so much. It's been an amazing call, filled with so many words of wisdom. I see everybody, you know, we're just filled with smiles. We've been so blessed this evening. So much to run with, very relatable things we can sit down and begin to apply on a daily basis. As we go back, even those of you that have said yes, 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 you can go back and look at that vision again. Look at that vision again. What is that vision when you started this business? And then set goals once again to align with these visions on a daily basis. I hope that everyone here has learned a thing or two or more like myself and ready to get to work and to get our hands dirty, because we're looking at a year of growth, growth, growth. First for ourselves, and then we extend this to all those around us in our network and just bless the lives of others. Thank you so much, sir. We truly appreciate you. Thank you. Any final words you'd like to leave with us?
Yes. Value yourself first. Be selfish with that, right? It's okay to be okay with who you are, who God created you to be. There's only one of you, and you were perfectly and wonderfully made. We are all unique. Make sure you value yourself, because I promise you there's those around that you don't even know that are praying for you, that value you, that appreciate you, that want you to win. But you have to know that you, and yes, I'm talking to you, deserve it. God bless.
Wow.
Thank you, sir. Wow. Thank you, sir.
Wow.
Thank you. Value yourself first, team. You're valuable. We value you. We recognize you. There would be no partnership without you. Thank you for being you. Thank you for where we're going. So we look forward to beautiful more Zooms like this. And it's just not coming on this Zoom, but running with this information and then seeing the result in your everyday life. Thank you, team. Thank you. Thank you to all our partner council members on the call, Dr. Charles Eremosele, Michelle Ogo, Nick Papers. Thank you.
Sarah.
Thank you to everyone on this call. You are valued. If Precious, Sarah, thank you, everyone. I see some beautiful names I haven't seen before. Adeshegun, thank you so much for getting on the call, everyone. You can unmute and say your goodbyes. Thank you so much, team.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you, Aaron, for such an
Bye.
amazing,
Thank
amazing,
you.
amazing.
Bye-bye.
Wonderful presentation. Thank you, Blessing. Thank you, Neil. Thank you,
Thank you,
everyone.
team. Have a
And
great
bye-bye.
evening.
Thank you, Aaron. Powerful.
Very powerful. Amazing call.
Excellent presentation and encouragement.
Thank you. Blessing, how you doing?
Thank you, everyone.
Awesome. Thank
Okay.
you so much. I'm
Thank
doing
you.
great.
Yeah.
Thank you, team.
Thank you so much. It was great.
Thank you, team.
Goodbye, everybody. Have a great evening.
Goodbye, Neil. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.